This video has been sponsored by MSI. A link to their Facebook page and website can be found in the description. A month ago, I did a review on the MSI Apache Pro gaming notebook. This time we've got the Phantom Pro, which is actually more compact and more powerful, so let's take a look at this one. Actually, I'll be honest, I did take a bit of a sneak peek at this before the unboxing. I couldn't help myself. Unlike last time, I waited a while, but this time I couldn't help it. So, let's have a bit of a look at what comes inside. So obviously we've got an outer box and it's well packed. Inside we've got the inner box, again with some more packing. I'll just set that down there, out of the way. Alright, so it's a pretty cool box. It's pretty plain, but classy. So let's get into this and have a look what we've got. It's very Apple iPhone-ish. It kind of lifts up, but there's a bit of a suction effect to it, so that's interesting. Alright, so we've got here, I'll just make sure that's, yep, okay, so we've got here the laptop sitting on top in its sleeve. As always, we'll just set that aside and we'll have a bit of a look at it in a second. So, the extras that we get with it are, we've got the power brick here. Now, this, to be honest, this is probably going to look a little different than if you were to buy one retail. This is obviously a review sample, and I dare say someone's probably had a look at this before I have. So, it may come packed a little differently, but you'll still get all the same stuff in it. So there's the power brick. We've got a bunch of material in here, warranty cards, driver CD, some stickers, some flyers, bits and pieces. In here there's going to be, obviously, well, my guess is the other end of the power supply, so yep. So just the regular Australian cable which goes into the end of that. I think that's it for the box. Yep, nothing else here, so we'll move that out of the way. Let's take a look at the main attraction then. Alright, so here it is. In the same sort of sleeving as the previous MSI laptop I reviewed. And an inner sleeve as well. So if we pull that out, sit that over there. So we get our first look at it. So again, if you've watched my other video, it looks very much the same, but this is a slightly smaller version. It's got a little MSI soft pad just sitting on top of the keyboard. I guess that's to stop the screen rubbing on the keys if there's any pressure downwards on it, which is a good idea. But there we go. It's a really nice looking laptop overall. Let's have a close look. This is MSI's new Phantom Pro 14-inch gaming notebook. The specific model is the X34 VR-7RE. The recommended retail price on this is $27.99 Australian, or if you're watching this in the US, you can pick up one of these for around $14.99. Before we get into the specs, let's just take a look around the notebook itself. It comes in weighing at 1.8 kilograms, it's 345mm wide, 245mm deep, and is 22.8mm high when closed. The top has a brushed metal lid with both the MSI logo and their Gaming Dragon logo, which is backlit, and it also has a red accent strip along the top. The front has front-facing stereo speakers by Dyne Audio. It has front status LEDs being drive activity, wireless, and battery status. The right side I/O consists of USB Type-C with Thunderbolt 3 support, USB 3, HDMI, and a Kensington lock. If we jump over to the left side, you can see the killer gigabit LAN port, the AC input, USB 3, SD card reader, and also the mic input and speaker outputs. Now you've probably already noticed that there's no optical drive on this laptop, and that's understandable considering it's a smaller gaming notebook, and perhaps they thought the space could be better used, and I tend to agree. The rear view, we can see that it has two large ventilation ports, and an interestingly placed mini display port as well. Now if we flip it over and take a look underneath, we can see 5 evenly placed rubber feet and some more ventilation holes. When we open it up, we can see the webcam, which is front facing, obviously 720p, 60fps capable. We can also see the screen itself, but I'll get more into those details later. We've got a power button there, keyboard designed by SteelSeries, but unfortunately is only red backlighting only, no customizable RGB, but it does have a really nice feel to the keys and nice depth. The trackpad as well has a very clean design with incorporated buttons and is as good as you'd expect a trackpad to be, with crisp tracking and a nice depth of feel to the left and right click. Now, here's one other thing that I always take notice of when I'm playing around with laptops, and that's the hinges. Now these have just the right amount of resistance, meaning that it sits solidly closed, but you can easily open it with one hand, meaning you don't have to hold down the body of the laptop when you want to open the screen. Now let's take a look at the specs. So this notebook features the new Kaby Lake i7 7700 HQ, which is a quad-core processor with a base clock of 2.8 GHz and boost clock of 3.8 GHz. This is running off the Intel H170 chipset as well. It has 16 GB of DDR4 memory running at 2400 MHz. However, if you wish, the laptop does support up to 32 GB of memory, but you are just limited to the 2 slots. The storage combination is a 256GB NVMe SSD and a 2.5-inch 1TB hard drive. The GPU is a GTX 1060 with 6GB of GDDR5 memory. Now keep in mind this is the exact same GPU core that's in the full-size desktop version of the 1060. The display itself is a 14-inch matte Full HD IPS panel with a refresh rate of 60Hz, which can't be overclocked. It also comes with AC wireless, Bluetooth, and comes preloaded with Windows 10 and is backed by a MSI 2-year warranty. Now last time, one thing I spoke about with the Apache Pro was about how capable it may or may not be running an external monitor. So this time I've got the Phantom Pro hooked up to an X34 running 3440 by 1440 at 100 Hz. So let's see how it handled that. Okay, so before I get into my thoughts, let's just have a look at what a few other people have said about the laptop. Now, T3 Malaysia gave it 4 out of 5 stars, BitTech said that it was recommended, and VModTech Thailand said this, and gave it 2 awards, so that must be good. So let me tell you what I think. So first thing I want to talk about is actually the temperatures and the noise of the laptop. So the temperatures, as expected, were higher than we'd probably be comfortable with, but at no point did it actually throttle itself down to have to cope with that. It did get around 80 degrees on the GPU and around 88 degrees on the CPU, but it didn't have to throttle itself down and lose performance to keep that under control, so that was nice. It would definitely benefit from an active cooling pad or even a repaste, like I said in the Apache Pro review, so that might be something you consider if you feel the temperature is a little higher than what you'd expect. The other thing about this laptop is that it's touted as a VR option or virtual reality option. Now unfortunately I don't have a VR kit here to test it, but I did run Steam's VR Ready test and that came up with this result. So that tells me that if you did want to use it for VR, it would be more than capable. It seems that that program is pretty accurate with how good your system's going to be for virtual reality, so it got a good result, so I would think that this would have no dramas at all running virtual reality. Alright, now let's talk about the price. So it's $27.99 Australian, making it $100 more expensive than the Apache Pro that we looked at last month. But putting it in context, for that extra $100, you get double the RAM, you get the new Kaby Lake i7, and you also get double the size of the main SSD. So when you put it into context, it's actually not that bad. Having a look at some competitive options, there are a couple that I found that were from Gigabyte, specifically the exact same specs, just maybe a little bit cheaper. Now, looking at those closer, they don't have anywhere near the fit and finish that the MSI ones do. So for me, if you like the premium feel of a laptop, you may want to pay that little bit extra and buy this MSI as compared to the Gigabyte options that are out there. But overall, the Phantom Pro is actually a really, really capable gaming laptop, and I'd be happy to use it if I gamed a lot on the go. You can see by the benchmarks, it's performing very well. It definitely holds its own with the panel that it's got inbuilt, the 1080p 60Hz, and it's also more than capable to serve as a home gaming system if you need it to. Running it off the X34 again showed some pretty positive results. So overall, a really impressive package, and if you're looking for a serious gaming laptop, I'd recommend that you take a look at this and see what you think. So thanks again to MSI for actually sending me the Phantom Pro to review. I was really impressed. And if you guys liked the video, remember to like it, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks guys.